A lot of craziness has happened over the last 24 hours. I think it's time to take a step back. Let's actually look at the stats, look at the data, and figure this all out. Enough of the dramatic titles. Yes, they can be fun and interesting sometimes, but now is the time, I think, to actually really look into what's happening here and what this means for the future. So we have seen articles like this coming out. China bans financial payment institutions from cryptocurrency business. And before we get into that, I will say one thing. So the cryptocurrency community, the Dogecoin community especially, is resilient. This is not enough to take down the community. This is not enough to stop the future of cryptocurrency. It's bright. It's extremely bright. And we know that because we've seen all it can do. We've seen the potential it has not only to rally people together, but also as a whole, just to kind of move currency forward. So a lot of exciting things going on with that, but this is still definitely a negative mark here, and I do want to make sure everyone's clear as well. So there's a huge difference between calling out the Chinese government and calling out China. If you call it the Chinese government versus calling out China, very, very, very different things. But China bans financial payment institutions from cryptocurrency business, and there's a few things we have to look at here. So this technically isn't the first time they've done this. They have done it previously, and the two previous times they've done it were both more than 3 years ago. The last one was in 2017. And so the reason why this is still significant, in my opinion, is because 2017 and 2021 are two extremely different times when it comes to cryptocurrency. In 2017, yes, we saw a run up, but it was not the same type of infrastructure we have now. There were not the same types of payment platforms. The run-up was not nearly as big as it is now. There wasn't as much institutional investment. The world really didn't know the name of cryptocurrencies nearly as much as they do now. So my thinking was, and my hope was that maybe, just maybe, we could see the Chinese government starting to come and look at this, look at what we've been seeing with it, and decide to change their policy and start allowing institutions to really come in. And so that's why this new announcement where the Chinese government is doubling down on this, yes, it's not the first time they've done it, but it still is significant, and that's why we need to kind of talk about it and realize that yes, this does have, unfortunately, an impact on the future. And what it does is China has approximately 1.3 billion, I believe, right now, somewhere in that range. And so that's a huge portion of the globe. And we would love for everyone around the world to be able to use cryptocurrency. The people in China, especially, I think, can have a ton of advantages when it comes to having cryptocurrency as a form of payment. And so I don't think any governments anywhere in the world should be stopping that. So that's there's some of the facts around it without any emotions involved or any crazy titles or anything. Which, I know, come on, Matt. You put, what'd you put? Like a bajillion? You put a bajillion of those little triangles in there. I know. It's YouTube. Can you really blame you? Sometimes we'll have a little bit of fun or go a little bit crazy with the titles, but that's just part of the game, And for the most part, if I ever do put something like that, I'm going to back it up with actually having information. I'm going to talk about that in there. And so whenever there's a title, even if it's a little bit out there, generally speaking, you're going to actually see some good information on that video. So it's worth clicking, in my opinion. But here's what we've seen since this announcement with cryptocurrency. We have seen already in the last little bit, cryptocurrency dropping a decent amount down to around 2 trillion from 2.5. Still up really, really big on the year, still up really big on the month even. And so we're seeing some, or actually no, what I'm saying, not some currencies are big on the month. Most of them actually have gone down this month overall. Bitcoin is a huge example of that. Last 7 days going down 23%. 24 hours, 1.9%. Dogecoin, it has gone down 6% this week. So Bitcoin going down 20-something%, Dogecoin going down 6%. We are seeing Dogecoin currently having a little bit more stability, and part of that is because of Elon Musk and all the awesome things he is doing for Dogecoin. He's continuing to move it forward as we're getting more and more people coming into live. Welcome to the live. If you want to be participating, you're welcome to do so. Hey, Matt, someone is pretending to be you on IG. Sent you a screenshot by message on Twitter, and yes, I have been getting a lot of messages like that, so be careful. I actually put a poll on my Twitter earlier today, and I was very surprised by the results. Let me go ahead and show you this. So here are the results from my Twitter poll. Shocking, actually, really shocking. Over 9,000 people voting in only a few hours already, and this is what the poll results had to say. This is an anonymous poll. Have you fallen for one of the cryptocurrency scams in the last 5 months? Remember, many scams will appear 100% real. 80% of people saying no, which leaves a staggering 20% of people that have fallen for these. 20% of people, a lot of smart people in that 20%, a lot of people who are just kind of taken aback, These scams are so real. They use verified accounts sometimes. How in the world are you supposed to know if you're new to the space, if you're new to social media? You may not know. And so there's a lot of really smart people who are still falling for this. And that's why we're going to continue to try to bring awareness around it and let people know. The comments down in the comment section where they're pretending to be me, other comments like that, we do have to be careful and make sure we're calling them out and not letting people take those and think they're real because they aren't. Always be careful with that. Even if it seems 100% real, there's a decent chance it isn't. To those 20%, the 80% of us who have not fallen for those, it's most likely because we have more experience, and the other 20% are newer, and so that's kind of where the gap comes. But we don't. It's not. There's no shame necessarily in falling for it because they're good. We have to. I mean, honestly, the scammers are really good at what they do. They've perfected their craft. They know for the most part what they're doing. I also put out this poll. So I was curious what people thought. So, I put out some tweets basically saying some things I wasn't happy about with the Chinese government. And I got some messages from people saying, Matt, you went too far. So I was like, all right, we'll take a step back and we'll just see what does the community have to say. 64 or 66% of people saying, yes, we should be, 34% saying no. And so that's kind of hard to look at there because what does that mean? So 34%, that's a lot of people in the community that don't want us to do it. 64% saying we should do it. So basically my thinking on that is we're still going to continue calling them out when we see specific bad things, but we won't make that the main focus. We're going to make Dogecoin and the future of cryptocurrency the main focus, and we will just put calling out bad things like that to the side for the most part, unless there's a specific thing. And so we'll still do it, but it's not going to be the main focus. That's kind of my thinking on that, just so that we don't have to We don't want to be causing anything besides good positive vibes for the most part when it comes to the overall image of the community. And that's definitely something that I want to make sure we're focusing on moving forward. And that's not just with Dogecoin, that's with cryptocurrency as a whole. We want to be pushing it and letting the world know that we are not only here to stay, we are here to be a positive, good force for the world. Whether that's, and sometimes that does mean we have to call people out. And we're not going to be afraid to do that when we need to, but we will be careful. That's just something I want to say. Dogecoin right now, the price is currently at 478. So it's gone up a little bit. It has gone up back a little bit. It was at around 46, 47 area. So we've seen a little bit of a rise again, but still it is down overall on the last 24 hours by 3%. Part of that is because of the news coming out from China. It does have a little bit of an impact when you see so many big articles, a ton of huge publications basically talking about this. We saw this one as well. This is from yesterday. Chinese trade associations sound crypto investment warning. And keep in mind too, articles like this are why it's so important to subscribe to this channel. I did not cover this one, but normally I do cover ones like this. And so we can get an advantage by seeing them ahead of time. And that's just something where it's a huge advantage to have the notifications on for that. Even though we didn't cover this one, we normally do. So Chinese trade associations sounds on crypto investment warning. And then right after one day, we saw the big news coming out. And so that's kind of where we can start to get an idea of what's going to happen based on like feeling the energy out and seeing what it is. Also smart contracts. So we've been talking a lot on the channel about smart contracts. A lot of people saying, well, Matt, it's hard to actually integrate smart contracts with Dogecoin. And yes, that's true. It is difficult, which is why it will take time. There's no guarantees it'll work seamlessly. There's going to be other things. Also, part of it is stable. So you want to have stable coins pegged to the US dollar. And that will actually allow a little bit more integration, but it won't be directly involved. If we actually want to see direct smart contracts with Dogecoin, first let me go ahead and explain what smart contracts are, because I get it. We want to be addressing the people who have specific things they want addressed. So part of that is, what is smart contracts? A smart contract is a self-executing contract with the terms of the agreement between the buyer and seller directly written into the lines of code. The code the agreements contained therein exist across a distributed decentralized blockchain network. The code controls the execution and transitions are trackable and irreversible. So basically, it's getting a computer to do the work of managing a specific transaction that already has a preset thing in there. So you wouldn't have to worry about human error or a human not following through, because the computer would automatically do it no matter what for you. And so that's kind of the thinking behind smart contracts and why they're valuable. And there's multiple ways to do that. And so with Dogecoin specifically, it is definitely harder than a lot of other cryptocurrencies to add those, but we do believe they're working on them. So we were talking to Ross, we do believe they are going to be able to most likely find a way to make it happen. And we're looking forward to that. But if it doesn't happen, I mean, that is also a possibility. So it's not guaranteed for sure. It's just something that's being worked on into the future, and something I'm excited about because it will help Dogecoin moving forward. And even if it's not a direct integration, just having that stablecoin integration is going to really be a positive thing moving forward for Dogecoin. The Flare network is definitely a huge step as well. Flare gives it some of those same abilities. We actually are going to have a Flare conversation on Twitter Spaces soon, which it was organized by a few great people. Dogecoin Rise playing a big role in that on Twitter. So definitely shout out for that. We're also seeing Nvidia. They're nerfing it. They pulled out their nerf, and they decided to nerf it. Ah, come on. Nerf is for kids, not for Nvidia. What are they doing here? You know what? I think it's time for the first roast. Nvidia, why are you trying to nerf it? And I will say, I get it though. I get it. I mean, they don't want people overusing that on there. They don't want people going crazy with mining and not being able to have the computers be used for other stuff. I get that. At the same time too, if more people are mining, there's still going to be the same exact amount that are mined. It's just more energy being used, and there has to be a good medium found there. So I kind of get it, but we're going to roast them just for fun. It's not really a real roast because if it was a real roast, then we would have to pull out the extra roast music, which we've never done before. I mean, I guess that means all the roasts in the past have just been partial roast. We need to have the extra spicy roast music sometimes, I guess. But for this one, I'm just going to pull out the normal roast music, and we'll just have a little bit of fun with this. Now, Nvidia! Oh no, what are you doing? Nvidia, Nerf battles are for the backyard, for 5 to 10-year-olds having fun. The Nerf blasters having a good time with that. But you're nerfing this stuff. What if people want to mine with it? Then what are you gonna do? Also, here's where we can really roast them. They actually have been in some ways releasing different ways to actually still mine anyway with it, and that's happened multiple times. It has been leaked out from Nvidia the way to actually to bypass what's happening with the nerf. So basically people can still do it anyway if that happens, and it continues to happen. So it seems like maybe they're just trying to get good publicity. It's hard to know for sure. But anyway, we'll move on from that. I mean, that's definitely something to talk about, but it's definitely not the main point of this. China bans financial payments from institutions, and we'll talk a little bit more about this because this is the big story right now that everyone is talking about in the cryptocurrency space, and deservedly so, because I mean, it does matter. What we're seeing with this does definitely matter. Let me see. There it is. I don't know why it's doing that. You know what I'm doing? I'm gonna take a screenshot. Is that easier? It's frustrating. There we go. I got it to work. All right, so we got a screenshot of this. So China banning the financial payment institutions from cryptocurrency business. The reason why this is overall a pretty negative thing, and let me read this chat here first. Matt, what is your take on the fourth largest Doge wallet buying 1.5 billion worth of Doge on 5-9 and then buying only 6.9 Doge today and 1 Doge the day before? Is that Elon saying Doge to $1 on 6.9? No, that's not Elon saying that. The 6.9 that was bought is just someone messing with us and sending money to that wallet. Almost certainly, technically it's possible, but I do think there's a really, really high chance that 1.5 billion is actually Tesla and Elon. So thank you for the chat, Ryan, coming in. I do think there's a high chance of that simply based on the fact that we saw Tesla buying $1.5 billion exactly in Bitcoin. And it's also one day before Elon tweeted out that big "should Tesla accept Dogecoin" tweet. 78% of those close to 4 million people saying yes. And so it seems pretty dang clear that at some point Tesla's going to invest in Doge. Why couldn't that have been it? We do know it takes like 2 weeks for them to actually make the announcement. So there we go. That's some insight on there. But no, I don't think the other smaller buys are most likely just people messing with it and sending money in because they knew people would see it since there's a lot of attention on it. They probably saw this video, the last video I did on that, and then said, okay, well, we'll send some in and maybe we can trick the final standing community and just see what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is kind of because there is a lot of controversy right now when it comes to talking about this. So if you do want to support the channel right now by commenting or doing whatever and helping the video get out to more people, you are welcome to do that. I will say as well, that one thing we should definitely be talking about is, of course, Manscaped. Manscaped, our sponsor of the video. If you want to hear what an awesome razor sounds like, that's what it is. An awesome shaver. It sounds good. It sounds crisp because it is. When you're actually using it, you can really feel the difference. It doesn't cause the burn and the sting that typical ones cause, and it also has a very, very fine touch to it as it's falling on the ground. And they got other products too, some great products. They got cologne, which smells like success, as you know. If you want to go and check that out, it is code Dogecoin. There is a link right there in the description. It will also be in the pinned comment. So you can check the link, manscaped.com. Use the code Dogecoin for 20% off and also free shipping. So go check it out if you want to see some cool products. They also got stuff for your nose, other stuff too. But as we're seeing with this though, China bans the whole entire cryptocurrency financial institution integration. The reason why that's significant is because part of the excitement around cryptocurrency is that it's going to have more institutional abilities in the future, meaning you can actually put long-term investments in it through a bank or through JP Morgan, which is already doing stuff like that. And so we don't want to see this happening, even though there's probably nothing we can do about it, so maybe it's pointless to even try. I do still want to be, at the very least, saying, okay, well, this isn't good. We won't call it out too hard at this current point in time. If they go further with this, they're at the point where I would definitely really call out China a lot is if they ban cryptocurrency altogether. Because even though this is a slightly negative thing, and it could have bigger negative implications, even though that's the case, that doesn't mean that it's the big kahuna, which would be banning it altogether. Because if China does that, I'll be very, very scared that we'd also see other countries doing a similar thing. They could start a chain of that happening. The reason why cryptocurrency is hard to ban is because the first country to do it, it's really going to be bad for them. But after one country does it, it's going to be significantly easier for the second one and the third one and the fourth one after that. And so the reason why I'm concerned about this, if that's a step toward that direction, it wouldn't be good. I don't think necessarily it is though. China also, not that long ago, basically said that cryptocurrency can be a positive investment for the long term. So it's kind of a little bit of conflicting reports. I don't think everyone in the Chinese government is on the same page here. I do think we have some people on our side when it comes to cryptocurrency in the Chinese government, and that's an important distinction to make. You can't really say and paint the entire thing with a broad brush. You have to actually look at the specifics and get into the details on that. Let me read a couple more of these comments here. Let's see what people are saying. Someone said, oh yeah, the Chinese government, I think, is also going to try to make their own crypto. I'm not buying it. Are you buying it? Who would buy it? Why would you want to buy that? I don't think anyone is going to want to buy that. I guess people in China maybe would be buying it if they were supposed to, if they had to. Yeah, you have to... You have to ban the internet to ban crypto, no worries, from Barry. And to some degree, you're right, but you can ban it on the exchanges, which is the easiest way for most people to buy it. And that's something we want to avoid. In the US, I think we're going to be very successful in applying pressure on politicians to stop them from doing this. We will vote them out very, very fast. But in countries where you can't vote them out, that's where we actually have to kind of be their voice sometimes in certain cases. And I know people, some people are going to be like, no, it's not worth it. You shouldn't do that. We don't want to have controversy in the community. What if someone writes an article? I get it. And that's why we'll be very, very, very careful. Don't worry. We'll be careful moving forward. We will not do anything that will be reckless. We won't do anything reckless. Elon Musk impersonator stole more than $2 million in crypto scams, a regulator says. $2 million! That's a heck of a lot of money, and that's only really what's reported. It was probably significantly more than that. Over $8 million in total in just the last few months from people falling for this. You saw the poll, 20% of people unfortunately have fallen for it. You only are going to fall for it once most likely though. So once enough people fall for it, I feel like it'll kind of start to stop. As we call it out more, as more people fall for it. This live altogether, not the most positive live, unfortunately. It would be nice to come on and only have positive messages, but sometimes we do gotta talk about the negative stuff. And this is definitely an example of that, because there have been some negative things. Bitcoin as well, going down to 42,000, which is a number a lot of people thought may never happen again. I was in the camp of, I think there's probably approximately a 50% chance we could see Bitcoin going down below that $45,000 area. I mean, it's hard to know. It's so tough to know for sure, because this is like nothing we've ever seen before when it comes to cryptocurrency. We've never seen this much institutional power involved. We've never seen this much ability to actually buy and sell things with it, and this much optimism around it. So it was tough to know for sure, but Bitcoin going down to 42,000, a lot of people are looking at that as a buying opportunity. And if you do buy this dip, you may be making a smart decision, not just with Dogecoin and Bitcoin, both all the cryptocurrencies together. Dogecoin, I guess, would be, I mean, that's the one we like the most, right? If people are buying the Dogecoin dip, I think that'll put a smile on a lot of people's faces here, and deservedly so. As we're seeing, the value transacted $2.88 billion for Dogecoin last 24 hours. Average transaction fee 151. That should be able to go down significantly. Billy Marcus tweeting out that is one of the things that we can do, or we can see the Dogecoin devs do to make it better. And that's going to be exciting to watch for. Total supply 129.51 billion. It's funny because it's different than when we first started talking about it, right? Because we know it continues going up 5 billion a year, and it still feels weird though, because you get so used to saying 128 billion, and then now it's 129 billion. Even though it's expected, it still kind of catches you off guard just a little bit there. Not too much though, because we knew it was going to happen. 24-hour low 4699. Perfect. I like that. I mean, having the floor of 6.9 there at the end after the 4, I think that's perfect. 24-hour high 5.1. It's really trying hard to break out there. And once we see those big announcements coming with the Tesla Dogecoin integration, that's where it's really going to start to get exciting. Bitcoin to 20K next month. Oh no, that wouldn't be good. That's definitely not something we want to see. The only way I could see Bitcoin going to 20K next month, it's possible it could go down there at some point in the future. I don't see that happening unless some big bad news comes out, like Tesla selling all of their Bitcoin. And here's the thing though, if Tesla does that, there's a decent chance they will then invest in Dogecoin. Maybe they already did make that investment in Dogecoin. Maybe they already made the investment in Dogecoin and they have an intention to potentially sell the Bitcoin. That's pure speculation. Don't take that and run with it because we don't know. Elon Musk saying multiple times they have not sold their Bitcoin, which means we trust them, right? They haven't sold their Bitcoin. Will they though in the future? That's the question we have to look at. And we do know they did sell a little bit not too long ago. But Elon said that was just to kind of test it out. It was a very small percentage. I think it was 10%, right? It was a small percentage. If we get smart contracts, do we have to fork? No, you don't have to fork for smart contracts. That's something that can be added without a fork. But yes, but seriously though, I mean, yes, there's been some controversy in the last 24 hours, but I do appreciate all the love. I mean, it's still cool to see how this community can kind of rally around all of each other and just lift each other up. Even in the face of some negative stuff, even in the face of things we don't want to happen, we still are here for each other. That's the most important thing by far. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get to making some more videos. I'm Matt Wass. This is Final Stand, and I will see you in the next video.